Netball is one of the most popular sports in the world. It's estimated to be played by over 20 million people in around 80 countries across the globe. Hugely popular in Commonwealth nations, netball fans will be eagerly anticipating another likely final between Australia and New Zealand at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. The 21st edition of the Games will be held in Australia, and they've been billed as the first equality Games, with 50% of the medals going to men and 50% to women. However, netball is the only sport without equal representation. Yet in the Australian city of Sydney, there are a group of men who are hoping that this fact changes in the forthcoming years. Transworld Sport headed to Sydney to find out more about the New South Wales men's netball team. Vice-captain of the squad is 23-year-old Eugene Lee.
When I first started playing as a junior, I wouldn't want to kind of say that I was playing netball because people would just be like, "Oh, that's a girl sport. It's it's not for guys." But now that it is getting a bit more exposure, people are seeing that it can be played by men. It's a different kind of sport, and it's not the skirt flicking sport that people think it is, and especially with the women's game becoming more exposed as well, they are seeing that it's a physical sport, and there's a lot of skills required that that make it a unique and tough sport to play.
The New South Wales team are coached by Teresa Tahiry. She's a former international netballer who played for New Zealand for 7 years during the 1990s. Teresa moved to Sydney 8 years ago, and she's been coaching this men's side for the past year.
The kind of reaction I get from people, like talking to people at work and, have you heard about men's netball? They still have that perception that it is still just a women's game. So I try to encourage them, have a look online. The games are online, you'll be able to see it yourself. There's a lot of talent and skill and precision that, the guys' game does bring, and it's impressive netball. I wouldn't be a part of it if it wasn't.
The team trains at the Olympic Park in Sydney. Since the 2000 Olympics, many of the facilities here have been in regular use. With most of the team in full-time employment, every training session is vital, as they only practice together once a week. New South Wales Netball also has a strong mixed team, and training alongside the female players has helped improve the overall performance of the men's side.
We use a lot more of our natural athleticism and our speed rather than as much skill, but that is improving as our game, as we're integrating more with the women's and we're practicing more with them. We are getting smarter with how we're playing and using those actual netball skills. So yeah, I think we're only getting better as men's netball.
Earlier this year, the New South Wales team headed to Australia's Gold Coast for the 2017 Mixed and Men's National Netball Championships. The men's team performed above expectation to make the final for the first time in 11 years. Taking on defending champions Victoria, the New South Wales team in the light blue began strongly, leading by 6 goals at the end of the first half. In the third quarter, New South Wales really began to dominate. Vice-captain Eugene Lee worked well with the 6'10" Samoan goal shooter Patrick Pillier to take the team to an 11-point lead. However, Victoria mounted a serious challenge in the final quarter, pegging the gap back to just 2 points.
The big smile on the face, the changes have worked, and her boys are playing with confidence. Victoria 2 down.
But with some great defence in the dying minutes, New South Wales held on for an historic win, triumphing 55-53.
New South Wales hadn't won since 2006, so been an 11-year drought. and just trying to instill that belief that you know, we could do it as long as we stuck to our own game plan. Because we came up against, you know, the titans of the game were the Queensland and Victoria teams, you know, and they had this reputation. So we had to overcome that. And the only way we were going to do that was to make sure that we looked after our own game and looked after each other and just had that belief and faith in each other that we could do it.
Since New South Wales have been here.
Eugene Lee was named player of the final. But one of the stars of the team was goalkeeper Josh Byron.
What was he thinking?
The 20-year-old previously played soccer and competed as a 400 metres hurdler. Standing at 6'4", his defensive skills were crucial in New South Wales's victory.
Driving hard, Roberts a quick release, and in front.
Probably sounds cliche, but it's like nothing I've ever seen before. It was just from day one, you could feel the energy, and I think that was ultimately what got us over the line, was that energy, that belief, and how we just had that glue throughout the whole week, and that came down to that culture that we developed. You know, thanks to T, our coach, and just the past years of what we've been working towards, and I think that's going to be really important going forward. I think we've really started something impressive.
Josh's ability saw him bypass the junior ranks to progress straight to the senior team. The team has a number of talented youngsters, and captain Valence Horn was impressed by their confidence in the final.
It's a really young team. You know, there was a couple of guys in the final who it was their first year playing at this level, so to come away with the win and to also get those young guys out on court, and the experience they'll gain from that is invaluable. So yeah, extremely proud. I was getting to the point where I thought I was never going to make the grand final, let alone win a championship. So to have it happen, you know, before my retirement is really good. So yeah, extremely proud captain.
At the age of 41, Valence has seen the men's game evolve over the duration of his career. He's optimistic about the future of the men's game and can see great potential for growth in the digital age.
I think with social media and technology these days, it makes it much more accessible to the wider audience. At the Nationals, we just had the last 4 days of games were live streamed with commentary. So, you know, we had friends and netball enthusiasts all around the world watching it. So I think with initiatives like that, it really gives us a platform to help grow the sport and get it out there. I think there's still a lot of work to be done to get it to where I think it deserves, it should be. But it's definitely on the right track and it's growing, which is all you can ask.
The arena that held the national finals on the Gold Coast will be one of the venues used at next year's Commonwealth Games. With the men's game yet to be officially recognised by the International Netball Federation, the men's netball community will be hoping that one day they too will be included in the programme of prestigious international competitions.
We have so many amazing athletes that really deserve a lot more credit for the crafts they have. I mean, we're all just a bunch of guys that love our sport. Over the years, we've become a closer unit with the women's side of the game. I mean, we now have a strategic alliance with Netball New South Wales, and I know a lot of the other state bodies do as well. But then that just now needs to then continue to then become aligned to the national level, be aligned to the government level, and then internationally, because unless we're both playing the sport, it won't ever be an Olympic sport. I think there's room for the men's game at the Commonwealth Games as well. But yeah, it just comes down to that corporate level to bring those two together, which, you know, everyone's working really hard towards.